Hello guys, the new update is now out, and since the last time they have actually added quite some new features. Most notably, we have some new unit orders. So let's just go into our test game over here. Now previously we have already seen this order that appears to be some kind of wiggly line with some curves, and so we weren't really sure if it meant anything else beyond the standard move order. But now we actually know that this can be used to link units together into a column actually. So if we head over to this test game and we take a look at this column, previously if we wanted to march this army through the river, we would have needed to set these move orders independently, like so. There you go. And then once they move, there is a chance that one of them would fall into the river. Now there was another option. You could have just made this unit follow this unit, and then this unit to follow this unit as well, and so forth and so forth. But then again, some of them will walk into the river. As you can see, they have just stepped into the river and now they are in the water. Let me show it to you. There you go. Now they are in the water terrain. And so it was a problem how you could either only make individual moves to each unit whenever crossing a narrow point like a river, or you had to make them follow a unit, and in that way they just always went for the shortest possible route, even if they had to step into water, and thus actually making their march a lot slower. But now there's a solution to this. Let me just quickly refresh this game. Now with the new order that is actually selected automatically by default, you can just click on some of these troops, like let's select 5 of these, and then I will click on the troop that I want to lead the column, like this one at the front. Then I unselect the units and only select the one at the front, and now I will make some custom move order for this unit. Like I would like them to go down over there and just cross that bridge down here. Now when I end my turn, they should automatically get into a column, not directly following the first unit, but actually moving in its path. So if your first unit hadn't walked into the water, then neither will any of the last units as well. This is even more useful when you don't have them lined up in a line, unlike in last time. So for example, if I just take all of these troops, and if I wanted all of them to cross the river, now I can show you what happens when you try to move them individually at the same time. So let's say that you have drawn up a move order like this. Whenever you end your turn, your units will start moving towards the bridge, but they will actually start pushing each other off from the bridge. And that is why you need to have some kind of order, like with this new column formation. You see, without using a column, your units will end up stepping into the water and then getting slowed down significantly. Like these units are pretty damn gone. But amazingly, with this new order, your units don't even have to be in a line to form a column. No, you can actually just select all of them. Then if I click on this unit in the middle-ish, and then I take this unit and I give it some very strange march order, let's say something like this. And if I end my turn now, you can see how the units will actually start forming into a column, coming in from right and left at the same time. And none of their hitboxes are touching basically, except for some imperfections wherever the column is still about to form. But once the column has formed out, it is not only automatically maintained, but they will no longer push each other off from a straight line, as you can see. Let's just give them some more time, and now they actually got into a very nice column, which will continue marching in the way of our move order. But of course we also have some other orders for them. Let's just go over to the battle right over here, and let's just click on this formation button once, we get to the form a line formation that we already talked about. But basically you can just select your armies, click on a point, and then just drag with your right click, and then you can get your units to form a line. As previously talked about, this is going to be amazing to get into a tight formation and to get out of such formation into a loose formation. It is now going to be extremely easy to manage that, especially in like larger games. However, now we have another new order, and that is this checkerboard formation, I believe. Now if we select our units and click with them on the map, you can see how they are seemingly forming this checks or checkers board. Now to be fair, I don't really see the applications of this order as much as for the other two formations. But once again, to be fair, you're going to use it to form a perfect chessboard, but more like something like this maybe. But even then, you could just put all of them at the first row at this point. You don't really get any further advantages by doing this. However, you can actually tweak with the settings a bit. If you go into your settings menu over here, then you can increase the space between your lines for the checkerboard formation. I personally put them up to 37 in my previous test, and then I also increased the space between the lines all the way up to 30. And now we can go back to our game and just refresh our page, or in this case I will actually just create a new offline game, why not? So there we go. I will end my deployment real quick, and once I select my units and select the checkerboard formation, now as I drag with my mouse, you can see how my units actually position themselves in a way that they actually have some more distance between their lines. I think it is more reasonable to use it this way, because I could go on with the problems with the previous one. You cannot really fire as far as you could before while you are still exposed to artillery damage the same way. But with these settings you are a little bit less vulnerable to artillery fire, which is a big positive for me. Especially when we look at how we didn't really gain anything from the previous setting, when we just compromise our own range fire while being exposed to about the same amount of enemy fire. So yeah, this one might be more useful in battles or grand battles, but in smaller matches like this one, you will still mainly want to use micro orders, so like the orders you do manually. It's fine if you only make good macro moves in big battles, but in smaller engagements you need some very precise movement, some very precise orders, and for that I would still recommend the micro orders that you can do manually, like moving your troops manually whenever you want to encircle some units, and so forth and so forth. And so now there is one more useful setting that I could recommend for you to like take a look at, and that one is also in the same page. It is actually right above the checkerboard formation settings, the multi-turn path minimum distance. So for example, if you want to create some very precise micro moves, you could make it so that the game wouldn't register your move as like a multi-turn path move unless you actually extended the move path to a minimum distance. So yeah, you could actually play with this one as well.